Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It is Friday and we've got Premier League football this weekend. Yay! Everyone can get excited again, other than that guy that way. He's that way. Other than this guy. Wolfie is back with us. So a match bingo. So get your cards ready for the weekend. Log in via the QR code. You've fhtv and they'll give you 100% credit on top of whatever you put in. And if you want to buy me a coffee, please do. If one of my mods would be so kind to put Wolfie's link in the channel, not that he needs any more subscribers. He is flying at the moment. And also please subscribe to myself, Wolfie. Happy Friday. Are you happy the Premier League is back?
Nope. First time in years where I've enjoyed an international break, mate. But don't you want to start with an apology? Because, you know, you've cost us to be 10 minutes late.
Do I want to start with an apology to who?
To the chat. Because we're 10 minutes late. I don't know. You were just eating and shit, man. We're late.
Hang on. I was having a cup of tea. Right, by the way, cup of tea for anyone who likes that. And look, I wasn't just eating anything. I'm sure the chat will agree with me. Look, chocolate hobnobs. I mean,
at 11:30 in the morning for breakfast.
Hang on, who said this was breakfast? It's 11:30. Breakfast was like 3 hours ago. What are you talking about? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm still deciding. But yeah, no, international break has been beautiful.
Good.
Forest still provided me with content, which is crazy with the whole Sean Dyche shit. But yeah, man. Roll on 3 o'clock on Saturday so I can get on with my weekends and have it ruined already.
Don't worry,
we're the 12:30.
We'll find a way. Yes, you are tomorrow, the 12:30, right? Yeah, we'll get into it. Chelsea at Forest, though, right? It's at the City Ground, so we'll
probably would be better at Stamford Bridge, man, because it's going to be tugged.
We'll get into it. Obviously, Chelsea news coming out today. Cole Palmer's out for another 6 weeks, so we'll get into that. Sean Dyche, we've got to get into that. Spurs have got new directors of football. I've seen you all over the internet, Wolfie, saying Spurs are boring. They're boring. They're shit and they're boring. We'll get into that. And I have seen, don't worry, I'm a member of your channel. I get alerts. That tell me when you make videos, mate. And I've seen I am now ANGE video. I've seen that. So we'll get into that. Before we do you give a shit about international breaks normally? Do you give a crap when England are beating 4 or 5-0?
Oh, what, the England shit? No, I didn't even know who they played. Someone told me that Anderson looked good again. But, bro, I just think, look, putting the Forest shit to one side, they just do a whole 3 weeks in the summer and delay the Premier League by a week or two. Do you know what I mean? Get rid of this shit, man. Does anyone care about... And also, here's my thing. In fact, go even better. Just qualify for the World Cup on your ranking. Just have it that simple. And just fuck these stupid friendlies into whatever they are. Fuck off, man.
Well, Dan Potts actually said something quite interesting a couple of weeks back where he was like, why don't you just have the people that are ranked that go through and then all of the lower level nations play to get into that? And then if you drop out the rankings, you drop out the rankings.
Exactly.
And I know people will come back and there's two sides to every story, but what is the point? England's group I've looked at. What is the point of it? Do you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is, Wolfie. This is just allowing people like Tuchel to stat pad his stats. It's allowing people like Harry Kane, right? But sorry, Spurs fans, it's allowing people like Harry Kane to just go another 2 goals for Kane, another 3 goals. People like Ronaldo. Oh, he's got 2 this week for Latvia, 3 this week for Andorra. It's all a bit. Just find it really pointless, mate.
Right, and it also heightens expectation as well.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because England, who did they beat? Was it Latvia or something?
I think it was Latvia. I didn't watch it. I don't care.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, England are beating Latvia 5-0. We're now favourites. I say we, I'm born in Scotland, but we're now favourites to win the World Cup. It's like, you're not. You know, there's always that thing. And then when it doesn't happen, they come crashing down on the players. And then the players get it in the neck and what have you. The thing is, I love watching the World Cup. I love watching the Euros. That's why I've got no issues with those tournaments. I just don't like the bollocks in between. I really don't. And
I agree. I find it hilarious. And, you know, they're all sitting there in and around Sky Sports and that going, oh, can you believe Bellingham wasn't called up? What, to play Wales and Latvia? Like, I mean, does it matter? But anyway, it is what it is. It's finally over with. Harry Kane has got about 100 more goals this international break. I think Haaland's got about another 9 goals and 3 assists to his name. And we move on. But let's start, Wolfie. Let's start. I don't want to start with Forest. We always start with Forest.
Yeah, let's not start with Forest.
I've seen you panel shows and in my chat when you say that, you know, I love it.
I'll watch.
You're in my chat saying to me, rent free. And I'm like, but you're in my chat. You're in my chat.
I'm supporting a fellow mate. What can I say?
You are. Well, I noticed that you haven't become a member yet. You know, I became a member of Forest Fan TV, but it's okay. I get it.
Well, you got gifted one, didn't you?
No.
Oh, you did? Oh, mate, I'm touched.
I give my hard-earned money to Forest Fan TV in support of you, Wolfie. Spurs are boring is the narrative I think you've been running with, right? I think that's the narrative, is it not?
I've been running with that for a good few years, man. Apart from when you had ANGE, I can't lie. When you had ANGE, it was entertaining to watch because you didn't know what you're going to get. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. I just feel that you lot are a boring team. And I just feel Thomas Frank is smelling a bit like Conte for me in terms of style of football and what have you. And I don't know. Look, being boring isn't a bad thing if it's going to get you results. But as a neutral, I don't really tune in to watch Spurs unless I'm kind of out with my brother or what have you. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think you started well. I don't expect it to continue. I still think you got too many holes in that team. I think your attack is horrific, absolutely horrific. And you're going to say to me, "Oh, man, we're like the first top goal scorers."
No. Hang on, Wolfie. Listen. How many times have I come on to like Football's 12th Man and said, other than Kudus, I want to see a complete overhaul of forwards at this club. We've got our forward options after Kudus because he's class, by the way. He has been absolutely brilliant. Other than Kudus, these are our 5 forward options at the moment, right? 6. We've got Brennan Johnson, right? Tell,
legend,
Odeber, Richarlison, Solanke, and then if Mawani ever recovers from this 7-year dead,
is he still out?
Yeah. Well, he played last week at the training ground, right? Spurs organised a behind closed doors friendly against Watford. I'm guessing that was purely for Mawani because he played the first 45 minutes. So I don't know, but that list of forwards, Wolfie, I'm like, oh.
Well, banter aside, if you were to run up and down the league, what position do you have to get in before they get in to a team? Does that question make sense?
Those forwards, are we excluding Kudus?
Yeah, allow Kudus, like put the others in.
So I'll tell you what, let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look at the Premier League football table. Here it is. I was about to say the combinations table, but if anyone knows that, then they're old like me. Arsenal, no. Liverpool, no. Bournemouth, Semenyo and Evan Nilsson. I'd take both of them in my team and Clivert.
Yeah.
No at Man City. Palace, I'd take Mateta over our strikers.
Sarr is brilliant.
I'm a big fan, by the way, and he'll get a move of Yeremy Pino. He's a good footballer.
Yeah.
He's a very good player. Chelsea, no. I mean, you've got Neto,
Pedro,
Garnacho, even Everton, Ndiaye and Grealish.
Ndiaye is absolutely next level. I rate him so highly. We had to come up against him when he was at Sheffield United. I'll be surprised if Everton can hold on to him past the summer. Is that good? Who's their striker now? Oh, it's Beto, isn't it? Is it Beto? I think that's who they got up front. Maybe Solanke gets in ahead of Beto. Maybe.
Yeah, they've got Beto and is it Tierno Barry who they signed?
Baza. Oh, good old Baza, yeah.
So they've got Barry as well. But I mean, then listen, I'd probably say Sunderland, yes. Man United, I mean, I'm taking Cunha and Mbuemo over over these players all day
Yeah.
long. Let's scroll down. Newcastle, no, I'm taking
No.
Gordon, Voldemar, Day, Langer. I think
we've gone down far enough to kind of prove the point, haven't we?
Right. And I think the key thing for me is that Spurs, if we are a Champions League team, shouldn't be looking at how far down the table do we have to go for most of these forwards to get into a front line. But what Frank has done with that, and this goes, you know, we're saying it's boring. Would it be as boring if he had better forwards? If we had prime Kane and Son alongside Kudus, are we now a force? I don't know.
I just think the thing I've always seen with Frank at Brentford is he has balance, but he's tilted towards one side or the other. So when he's defending well, they're not scoring as many goals. When they're winning away, they're not winning at home. When they're winning at home, they're not winning away. I just feel like this is the next step he needs to now prove to, well, not to me. I mean, why would he give a shit what I think, right? But for him to make that step up, because I've got him in that Harry Potter category, that Nuno category, a couple of other managers.
My Thomas Frank.
Yeah. Just hear me out. What I'm saying is to jump up from a club where he's established them in the Premier League to then, God, man, AI at its best. to jump up from a club where he's established them in the Premier League to go to a Big Six club. It's very rare we've seen a record of a manager who's done that. I'm sure you probably can think of an example off the top of your head, established them and then kicked on. Do you know what I mean? That's like, that's the proving ground he is now in. I'm not saying he can't do it, by the way. I'm not saying he can't do it, but he needs to come out of that mold of those Thomas Franks or whatever. It'd be like Woods. Let's say Man U sack, not Man U, they're shit now. Let's say Chelsea sack Maresca. If they went and got a Marco Silva, for example, those same questions would be asked. Can he jump from the team he's established into the Premier League into that?
So it's the Silvas, the Iriolas, those types of managers. Yeah,
exactly. So that's kind of, I think that's the pot he's coming out of. He's now got to step up and go into this Spurs pot and push you on to get further up. So I don't know, Eddie Howe for me is his own separate enigma. I highly rate him. But again, you can't say that Eddie Howe's taken a Big Six team. He took remember where Newcastle were where Eddie Howe joined. Like he's done the evolution of Newcastle. I think they were bottom of the league, if I remember right.
Yeah, that weren't they bottom of the league and favourites to get relegated?
Yeah, by miles.
Yeah.
So Eddie Howe's done that whole thing with Newcastle, and I kind of hope he stays there and continues that trajectory on.
Couldn't you say Poch would have been in that bracket, coming from Southampton, came to Spurs, second, third?
Yeah. You could say that on Poch. Yeah.
Mate, I don't disagree with you. I feel that when we have this conversation, and by we I mean football fans, I think a lot of it is ability, but a lot of it is going to be personnel as well. Do you know what I mean? Like if Thomas Frank had better forwards, you could argue we'd be top of the league right now. Now, I'm not saying it means anything after 7 games, but with 2 points off the top, with Tell, with Odegaard, with Richarlison, with Johnson, imagine we had Anthony Gordon on the left. How many goals would Anthony Gordon have got in this Spurs team compared to what an Odegaard or a Tell would, right? So I hear you. I think this is a big year for Frank personally, but for me, he's doing a wonderful job so far.
But can he attract those players? That's for me the question. I think Spurs can attract those players. Like, are you in the boat now where you can compete? Because realistically, because I think the Spurs fan base is one of the funniest fan bases to listen to. Because you do have Spurs fans who think, why are we not competing with Arsenal, with Chelsea, etc. You got the Spurs fans who are like, no, let's just get competitive. And then you got the Spurs fans who are like, we should have attracted someone better than Thomas Frank for our projects and what have you. So it's quite fun seeing the mix within there. Now, can he attract those players, or is he the manager that we saw at Brentford who can take an unknown name and then develop them into a name, like sort of Mbuemo, like sort of Tony, etc., and those kind of players?
Hang on, he's just attracted what? Mawani, Simmons, Kudus, Paulinho.
Or was that Spurs?
Yeah, sure. I get that. But what
Do
I
you
would
get what I
say
mean?
is,
I'm not saying he can't, but what
yeah,
I would like to see is, because you told me what a great coach he is and stuff, I want to see those players that you and maybe a few other Spurs fans class as shit being coached into good players. So the Odebears, for example, surely these are the players that you would want to see Thomas Frank get hold of, develop, improve, and see a tune out of them.
sure. But do you know what
And the
I
other
think?
one, sorry, just one point to add, is Brennan Johnson, because Thomas Frank, I'll tell you why. Thomas Frank wanted Brennan Johnson from when Forest were in the championship. He was chasing him and chasing him, chasing him. Even when Forest got promoted after the first year, he still was going after Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson is a player that he's had a
But
long admiration for.
At a different level. See, this is the thing, right? When we talk about coaches, just because you've got a coach doesn't mean that every player can be coached to a level. So, for example, I don't think any coach is ever going to make Brennan Johnson a technically good footballer. I just don't think he's got it. What I think they can coach into him is timing, positioning, that's that sort of thing. But for me, what I care more about a coach is how he coaches and sets up the team rather than the individual. And that's what we're seeing at the moment. When you look at us right now compared to when you look at us 6 months ago, no one's looking at us and thinking they're easy to play against. No one's looking and thinking we can grab 3 or 4 goals today against Tottenham. We're just not that team anymore. So I get it.
Yeah, but his track record is on individuals, I would argue, as well.
Because the level, you got to remember, a lot of that was the level he was at. So when you're at Brentford are scouring the world for Kevin Shardays and Buemos, right? Keane Lewis Potters, Ollie Watkins when he was in the lower leagues, Tony's, right? At Spurs, you're not going to be buying as many players like that because the fans going to go, well, we want the Kuduses. We want
that's my point. Yeah, but I'm saying you've already got those players, because if you look at the ones you brought in, like Archie Gray, for example, he is a good player. Is he ready for a European race or whatever? Probably not yet. Can Thomas Frank develop him at Spurs?
Sure.
To show that. Do you know what I mean? I think there's too much still of an expectation.
For years, right? That's
it
not
doesn't
something
have to be years, though, Sav. It doesn't have to be years.
No, but I'm talking about when you let's look at Brentford. When you look at the rise of Mbeumo, the rise of Wissa, the rise of Tony, the rise of Watkins, the rise of Collins, yada 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 yada. None of these were bought, and then 3 months later, everyone's going, "Look how good they are." Slowly but surely over time, they all developed, learnt, grew. And then suddenly people are going, have you seen that boy at Brentford? Now, he's going to have less players to do that with at Tottenham, but it's going to be interesting to see. We've got young Vuskovic who's out on loan. You've got Bergvall, Gray, Thar, yeah? Odegaard, Tell. Problem is, all of them aren't just going to suddenly be great. One or two of them, right?
It's not a light switch.
No, it's not. But what I think is more interesting here for me with Thomas Frank is, well, no, this isn't really Thomas Frank. This is Tottenham. What you said there about our fan base is funny to listen to, and it is. We are a funny old bunch. But when fans get frustrated in like when Ange went, and it was all right, who's going to be the manager? You've got people straight away go for, we want a Conte type. We want a Jose type. Problem is with that, right? And I said this at the time of signing a Jose and a Conte. The problem is with that, Wolfie, is the caliber of player that Jose and Conte want and need. Yeah, because they're not really coaches. They're brilliant tacticians, but they're not actually people that you go, right, let's be at a football club for 3 or 4 years and really develop, right? Yeah. So Conte comes in, for example, and he wants Bastoni. Bastoni doesn't want Spurs. So for me, I don't ever think Spurs have been at that level where we go, let's get a manager in like that. Now, the only time we were was when Poch had a second, third, whatever it was, right? At that point, should have been where we should have been ruthless and gone, right, if you want to win now manager, strengthen from a position of strength. You've got Kane, you've got Son, you've got Ericsson, you've got Ali, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Walker, Lloris. Now go and get your Conte. And now Conte can turn around to the Bastonis of this world and go, look at this team. Come and join this team. I'm going to turn them into title winners. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you would, but it's also the style of play. I think Spurs kind of flick flack. Oh, that's an old school word. I used to have a watch. Do you remember the watch back in the
flip flap?
Flick flack. Does anyone in the chat remember the watch Flick Flack? It was like this red and blue watch. Anyway, showing my age there. But I just feel
right
now. I think I'm right. It had like this red flick.
Hang on, Flick Flack watch. I'm having a look. Oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah. You're right.
Remember that?
Yeah. Hang on, here we go. Oh, look at it. This is.
Do you know what? I think I even remember. It's going for 130 quid. I had one as a kid. What the hell?
There you go. The old.
No, it wasn't that. It was like a red and it had like a red strap. It had a red strap.
Had a red strap.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Well, there you go. The old Flick Flack watch. Love it.
Here, let me show. I'll send you this. Look at this.
Hang on, I've got it. Oh shit! Yes, I have.
It had like a blue face and stuff.
Yeah. This. Do you mean this? Share screen. Like that?
No, it's this one. Yeah, but that's the faces. Look at that link I just sent you. That was the girls' version, but the boys' version had a red. I don't know why we're talking about this.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Go on. Spurs go from one style to the other.
Style to another, to the opposite. It just feels like that over the last couple of managers. So I just, and that makes me wonder, like, do the players then suit the new manager who comes in? If you'd appointed a more stylistic manager to the players you had, would your process time be quicker?
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not saying you shouldn't have appointed Frank. I think you did all right to get Frank. I'm just saying, like, you've gone from ANGE over here to Frank here. Players who are used to this changing to that. So what I'm saying is, for your players to get in line with the Frank system will take longer than if they'd gone from, say, Conte to a Frank. Do you know what I mean?
I completely agree. But now let's look at the flip side to this. Were the players used to the ANGE system, or the fact that they lost 26 games in a calendar year last year shows you that they never got used to that crazy system and they wanted a Thomas Frank? Because when you look at Van der Ven and Romero now, they both look cool, calm, settled. Look at the midfield now. Doesn't look overrun. The players look happy, Wolfie. And I know this is a difficult subject because you're in the middle of, I'm guessing the Nottingham Forest players aren't very happy at the moment in their body language.
And then they all said they're happy in their interviews. You know, I always believe what they say in their interviews.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure they did say publicly that they're very happy, but are they playing like they're happy?
Look who's calling me, man.
Who is it?
Dej. Wait, what's it? Dej, say hi to Sav.
Wolfie, my brother. How are you?
Good. Say hi to Sav.
Sam?
Savva.
Yes, Savva. How are you, bro?
Have you lost my number or something, Deji? Haven't heard from you for about a year.
What did you say?
He said if you lost his number, he hasn't heard from you in a year.
Mate, honestly, Savva, mate, I barely stream, to be honest, but I need to get back. Me and you need to do a show, man. I need to give my 2 1s. We haven't spoken in ages.
Hey, I'm just live, Dej. I'll call you after we're done. Yeah? All right, bro. Shameless. He's your most shameless content creator.
I look forward to a message from Deji in 2027.
Bro, he's so bad with messaging, man. He was like, he said to me yesterday, he's like, yo, I need to catch up with you. I was like, all right. He said, when are you free? I was like, 8 o'clock. What time is it now? 12:03.
It's nearly 8 o'clock. Depends. No, but listen, I get your point. And this is what a lot of Spurs fans have talked about for years is we keep going from one extreme to the other. One extreme to the other. And I think that for me, I just think I don't want to be at one extreme or the other. This is going to be like when Man City move away from Pep, right? That's going to be a really interesting appointment. How do you go from one of the greatest coaches there's ever been? Who do you go to next? Do you suddenly go to a more organized defensive manager, or do you go to a manager that wants to keep the ball? And I guess that's the
interesting thing with it, Sav, is the word the patience word. And I'll tell you what I mean by it. I don't know if this rings true in the Spurs fan base. I think fans are more patient with an attack-minded manager than a defensive-minded manager.
Of course they are.
Let me explain why. Because if you're winning and you're playing boring defensive football, you don't care. It's fine. We've got the 3 points. We move on and what have you. If you start to lose and you're playing boring defensive football, I guess you lot probably start to have it under Conte at that time. If you're losing and playing shitty, boring football, that's when the patience level wears very thin.
Of course.
That's the thing with it. So it's a fine balance, man. It's a fine balance. And the other thing I would say is I am sure there are plenty of Spurs fans who looked at Thomas Frank and said, this isn't a big enough name to come in at Spurs. So they had a preset mindset onto it. Like I saw, to be honest, a lot of Forest fans with ANGE, right? And as soon as you see any chink in the armor, is I told you so. This is why I didn't want him in the first place. He's playing too defensive. He's not big enough to run our club and what have you. So he needs to be careful. I think there will be a sect of that fan base that are almost just silently waiting in the background. So when he fucks up, they can be like, well, I said in the summer, didn't want him. Look at him now. But you are right on the defenders that you were saying, because I think if you remember before the season started, I was saying to you, I'm interested to see how Van de Ven plays in a lower line. And I think he's done really well. I think
I think Van de Ven has been better than Romero this year. Van de Ven goes under the radar a little bit because of Romero's reputation. For me, we had this chat in the summer. We did, didn't we? We said, listen, and it wasn't it wasn't a dig. It was, I've seen Van de Ven for 2 years playing in this chaotic high line where he's asked to run back a lot. And we all know he's brilliant because he's the quickest player.
Yeah, he was like the Kyle Walker of Man City, you know, that insurance policy. Yeah, exactly.
So the question mark was, right, how does he play this year in a back four that is an actual more orthodox back four? He's been excellent. He's been absolutely brilliant. And you know the key thing, Wolfie? Him and Romero have been fit. They're not pulling up with hamstring injuries. They're not being asked to run around the pitch like madmen. And for that, I'm truly grateful. Listen, I think the thing is with Thomas Frank, and when you got fans saying, don't worry, people in the chat, we'll get to Forest shortly. Don't you worry about that.
Well, they just don't listen, do they? Look at our Frederick guy. This Wolfie guy doesn't know a thing about Spurs fans. No Spurs fans want Frank out. When did I say any Spurs fan wanted Frank out?
And there are Spurs fans that want Frank out. Don't worry about that, Wolfie.
Exactly. Like, listen to what I said. There are Spurs fans that wouldn't have wanted Frank in, was the point I was making. Sorry, Savva, go.
No. I was just going to say, I think the key thing here is when you got fans going, he's not a big enough name, he's not a winner. I feel like we're talking as though we are Liverpool or City. I feel like those fans suddenly forget Spurs are a big club, but we're not in the elite group. And you only get in that elite group by constantly winning titles or constantly challenging for titles and stuff like that. So I think this is I said this in the summer. He was my number one choice. Him and Glasner were my number one choices. I think we needed a bit of calm, Wolfie, because what Thomas Frank does, he's almost impossible to hate. Can rival fans ever look at Thomas Frank and go, I hate that he does that?
I can't stand him.
Why?
I just don't like him. I didn't like him because we were playing against him in the championship and stuff. I don't know, man. He's got these beady eyes.
Do you hate him or that he's a good, like, what I mean by that is, you know, that people were like, oh, look at Arteta's behavior on the touchline. Look at his press conferences. When you look at Frank, he's professional to that. He's just so down the line professional in every interview.
Boring, bro. He's analytical. Boring.
He's analytical.
You can call analytical. You can use word. He's boring, man. He's boring. You don't see the media lining up for his press conferences, do you? Like my boy AngeR.
But do you know what? When was the last time your manager actually looked at a reporter in the eye rather than looking at the floor when he was giving an interview?
I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate.
What was that? Play that again.
I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. I'm not a clown. I never will be. Look, at the end of the day, I think fans have to ask themselves, what do they want? In this day and age, do you want a football guy that is professional, that gets on the training ground, coaches, gives good interviews, and just concentrates on the football? Or do you want somebody that is brilliant in press conferences, but brings a lot of heat to your football club? Because last year we were always in the news because of these silly throwaway comments, press conferences, interviews. And it was like, oh, can we just stop saying crazy things? Like, can we just stop saying them? That's
can you imagine what his presser is going to be like today? Like, it's going to be fireworks, man. I can tell you. They're going to be asking him about Sean Dyche. They're going to be asking him about not winning in 7. He's going to bite. Yeah, it's going to be fucking fireworks, man.
Well, let's move to this then. So, Wolfie, I need to ask you a question. And obviously there was no football's 12th man yesterday, so didn't get to ask it. You did a video like 2 days ago. And in the last 3 weeks, you've gone from I'm ANGE, I'm actually a bit excited, to I'm like Anakin Skywalker and I'm now ANGE out, I've joined the dark side, to sod this, the name being mentioned is Sean Dyche, I'm now back to being ANGE. What is your actual opinion and what's going on?
So, one, there is a lot of AI generated stuff these days. So be careful what you do watch. What I'll say. I'll say that the Forest PR machine has done its job and it's worked. And I shat myself because I will not ever want to see Sean Dyche managing my club. That for me, for a couple of reasons. One, his football is dire. He's just a ginger Steve Cooper, as far as I'm concerned. It's all low block, cross the ball in, score from corners, Stoke FC settings, and all of that. Secondly, if you like, as much as I'm getting bantered, if we put it objectively aside, it's 6-7 games into the season. There's no one really in a relegation battle now, apart from, say, Burnley, technically speaking. I guess maybe Wolves. 2 wins and Forest would probably find themselves mid-table or close to the top, right? But if you break the glass in case of emergency 7 games in, you're admitting you fucked up and the season's gone and 17th will do, which is just pathetic. And fourthly, Ange, what's his face? Sean Dyche in Europe. There's certain things in this world I do not need to see. And Sean Dyche managing in a European match is one of those things. And then you get some of the Forest fan base saying, well, he got
harsh on Dyche here.
Bro, I've got nothing against the guy. The guy is a secret Forest fan. He lives across the road from the ground. He's got Ian. Do you remember Ian Wone and Steve Stone?
I do remember Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the free kicks Ian Wone scored against Spurs? They were beauties.
Ian Wone was left, Steve Stone right.
Yeah. Ian Wone's the one who scored the free kick against Walker from the right edge of the box, and that, remember that triple threat replayed cup?
I remember, mate. I remember.
Beautiful. Yeah, but so he's got those two as his kind of second in commands, assistant managers. So you got Forest fans going, well, if we get him, we'll get Ian Wone and Steve Stone back, and they'll bring the passion back into it. I'm like, what the fuck did Ian? And I love Ian Wone. Ian Wone's that's one of my all-time favorite goals. He scored an absolute beauty against Newcastle back in the day from miles out, smashed it into the top corner and what have you. So I'm like, okay, I've seen Stuart Pearce managing Forest and he's the greatest legend of all time in my generation. He didn't win anything with us or do anything of note with us. So what do you think 2 assistant managers are going to do? Fuck Sean Dyche is my answer. And this whole, he got him into Europe. So that was 8 years ago?
So let me ask you then. So if I was to say to you right now, you just keep losing under Ange playing this way, or you bring in Sean Dyche, but you actually start getting some wins by hook or crook, you want to keep losing.
Keep losing. I can't stand Dyche, bro. I can't stand Dyche, bro. I can't do Dyche.
I get it, but
how about this? I'd rather have Southgate. How about that?
Okay, understood. But why are we living in this world now where, because of a name associated with your club, i.e. Dyche, that has made you change your mind on a manager that you didn't want a week ago? Like, how? Surely it should still be, I don't like this manager, but I don't want that manager either. Why has it made you change your mind on it?
I mean, I am a bit of a hypocrite. I can't lie. Whenever I've been a manager out, I've always used the analogy: if I'm in a bad relationship, I end it. I don't wait till I've got another one waiting on the doorstep, right? So, I get that with this, but I'm sorry, it's the first time ever in all my years of being a Forest fan, of watching football, is where their PR spin has worked on me, and they've caught me hook, line, and sinker with it, because I can't fucking stand his football. I really can't. So he can go do one, as far as I'm concerned.
Look at him. Look at that managerial.
What are you trying to show me, man?
Look, I don't
come
know.
Fucking stato, man. What? Go on, explain. Sell him to me. Go on.
I'm not. I just thought it was funny to bring up. I mean, let's be fair.
34 win percentage. Hang on. But I reckon I could get 42.
Everything about Sean Dyche is he's what we call a third manager, right? And what I mean by that is nearly everything is a third this, a third that, a third that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and by the way, I banter and say, oh, I'd love to see Sean Dyche at Nottingham Forest. I actually wouldn't like to see Sean Dyche at Forest, because I think he'd do a good job with you. Now, as an outsider, I think he'd do a good job. Whether or not you would like it, now that's a completely different story, Wolfie, right? But I think with the back four that you've got, with the DMs that you've got, and some of the midfield solidity that you've got with the likes of Douglas Luiz, with Sangare, with Anderson, I think you'd be a very solid unit under Dyche. However, I just don't think you'd enjoy the football. And that, for me, feels like where your issue is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like what you just said there, when you read those names out, it is a fucking cataclysmic failure that Forest are even in the position they are right now.
But yet you want to keep that manager.
It's a damning indictment on my boy Marinakis that he fucked this up in the last 4 weeks or whatever, however long ANGE's been in. Because you've got Murillo, you've got Milenkovic, you've got Douglas Luiz, you've got Anderson, you've got, I guess you've got Gibbs White, but he's been utter shit, as I predicted. You've got all these players. You should not even be anywhere near the bottom half of the table.
I agree.
With 200 million spent in there.
I like your squad. I think you've got really good. There's a number of players right now looking at Forest that I'd say I'd have him. A number of players at Nottingham Forest that I would absolutely take straight into the first team. Anderson, absolutely bang, straight in my first team, right? Any one of your wingers, it doesn't matter who it is. Any one of your wingers on the left-hand side, straight into our first team, right? You've got good footballers, so you should never be where you are, ever.
Yeah. Do you know what? Anderson alongside Paulinho would be quite a tasty combo.
I agree. And that's exactly what we need.
And that's what you're kind of missing. Yeah. Anyway, fuck off. You can't have him. Apparently Man City want him. But yeah, no, I agree with you. And then I haven't even talked about the potential that's been bought as well. You got McAtee. You got Hutchinson. There's so much potential within that squad on top of established players. And they've just fucked up so badly. Big up, Foxy, hope you're well. But they've like royally fucked up on this one. So look, here's my kind of official stance, okay? Yes, Sean Dyche scared the shit out of me. But I've now seen Douglas Luiz is back and fully fit, okay? That's the only excuse I've held on to. Yeah, I did think about that.
You're going to bring back Ashley Barnes. To the 4. You can go to a 4-4-2.
Wait, who was the one that you tried to get with the ponytail? Was it Rodriguez?
Jay Rodriguez.
Yeah, was it him? He was that.
Did we try and get Jay Rodriguez?
Yeah, you did. I remember my brother telling me you were linked with him.
Oh, Spurs are linked with everyone every year. I won't read too much into it. I don't remember us being after.
I know, maybe someone in the chat can remember. But what was I saying? Yeah, so here's my stance, right? So he's got Chelsea. because he's got Douglas Luiz back. He's got Murillo back. He's had 2 weeks to coach them or do whatever the fuck he's been doing for 2 weeks. And Chelsea, I know Chelsea in isolation is harsh to say that on a manager, but that's the position he's put himself in. So he needs to beat Chelsea. I will back him for this Chelsea game. There are Forest fans, by the way, who are like, fuck it, let's just lose to Chelsea and rip the plaster off. Yeah.
But okay, so let me ask you, your next I think Porto's your next European game, right?
Yeah.
I want to remove Porto. Your next 3 Premier League games are what? Tomorrow Bournemouth. At home to Chelsea. Then away to Bournemouth.
That's a
and
loss.
Then who's
that's
the
a win.
And then Man U. Right?
And then Leeds as well, I think.
Can he survive those 3 games without 4, 5, 6 points? Can he? Should he?
He can't survive past Chelsea.
Do you think?
He can't. What I got told, like when all this Sean Dyche shit was going on, I got told he's got the Chelsea game. And that source has been pretty bulletproof because here we are, Chelsea. Now, they didn't say to me, if he loses, he's gone. They just said he's got Chelsea. Yeah, it was him. I thought he was linked, Mr. Ponytail Boy. So I think he's got Chelsea. Now, what's going to happen, Sav, on Saturday is Forest are going to draw, because then everyone's going to scratch their head and be like, now what? Because it's black and white, isn't it? If you beat Chelsea, you make it to Porto. If you lose, P45. If you draw, everyone's scratching their head. So I can see that scenario happening.
How many league games has he had? Is it 4?
4, yeah. I mean, it's harsh when you break it down to that kind of league number.
No. I agree. Yeah. I agree. I do agree with that. And how many points is it?
1, 2.
One from 4. Yeah. I mean, look, it's difficult because if I try and look at this without the fact that I don't like Postecoglou as a manager, I do feel like sacking any manager after 7 games is just brutally, brutally harsh.
Yeah.
However, your squad is such that you should not be like you haven't had a bounce. Like most managers go into a club, and even if it's a 2-game bounce, Wolfie, even if it's a 3-game bounce, you've gone in and the complete opposite has happened. You've just collapsed. And I don't know how long any manager survives that. That's where I'm at.
And look how we started, bro. Look how we started. We destroyed Brentford on the opening day of the season. Okay, I know they're shit, but I think they've surprised people. Even though they're shit, they've still done better than people would think. And then we drew away at Palace. We could have won that if Morgan Gibbs-White didn't decide to do what he did. So we started quite well. And then obviously Nuno sabotaged the West Ham game because he wanted to take 3 points with him to his new job. So we'd started fine. So it wasn't like ANGE was coming into a crisis situation. He's actually created the crisis for himself. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, what I want to do, Wolfie, I want to bring this up, and I want you to go through with me. I want you to pick the Forest team for me that you've got available, not with injuries, that you've got available. Okay. First of all, is it a 4-2-3-1? Just so I know what formation to put out.
First of all, there's 500 in here and 118 likes.
Mate, the Spurs
to the attention of the chat.
Mate, the Spurs YouTube community are so crap at smashing the like button, and then when you ask them to do it, they get annoyed. It's utterly.
Stop begging, mate. Stop begging. Stop begging.
Yeah. Stop marketing your own business. Yeah. Thank you. And we
just on the side note, you want to know what happened last night? So we was doing our live podcast, and then have you seen this new button where you can change it to members only stream?
What, during the stream?
Yeah. If you look at, have you got your YouTube open?
Yeah.
You know where you do the polls and shit?
Yeah.
You know that plus button? If you press the plus button.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I saw that yesterday, right? And I said at the end of the stream, I was like, all right, you know what? I want to press this button and see what happens. We're going to do 10 minutes members only stream. Bro, it was like I was fucking Scrooge. It was like, no, you're penny pinching this, that, and the other. I was like, it's a new button. You can see it by Savva's reaction. You haven't seen it before, have you, Sav?
No.
Yeah. So it's like, you're going to put stuff behind
press that. So if I was to press that now, suddenly all the 500 people that are watching, if 400 of them aren't members, they just suddenly lose access to watching this.
Correct. But
wow.
What actually happened was it killed the stream, it created a new one, and then it just did it as a new one. But anyway, so that's the thing. It's a members only chat. Well, no, you can do a subscriber only chat. So yeah, if you did that now, you'll have all the people sitting in the free seats now crying that I want to continue to watch for free. You know, like
that's mad. I can't see personally. It's not something I would use, but I didn't know that button was there. Anyway,
sorry. No, I would go 4-3-3.
4-3-3. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go for a 4. Let's go for the old 4-3-3. We can do that. There we go. Okay, talk to me. I'm guessing this is cells.
Yeah, cells.
Okay, what's the back four? Right, with what's available.
I would go Nico Williams. By the way, he is so underrated. I would say he's our best player at the moment.
Yeah.
Ahead of Anderson. I'd go Milenkovic and Murillo. They should both be back.
So is there, do they play?
Milenkovic right, Murillo left.
There you go. And then who's left back?
Unfortunately, Zinchenko. I just have to for now.
Is this Douglas Luiz?
No, Anderson there. I'll put Anderson in the middle. Or maybe Douglas Luiz. Yeah. Sangare right, and then Luiz left. Bro, I like that midfield, man.
Like who?
I like that midfield.
I quite like that as a midfield as well. Yeah. And then I'm guessing, is this Chris Wood?
No, Igor Jesus. Wood's done, bro. Wood's done.
And then is this?
That would be Bakwa, who's been shit, by the way.
Is it this
but
way?
he's very good, but he's been really
Bakwa,
shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
I'm getting Hutchinson on the left.
Right. So there you go. If we look at that team, we know the goalkeeper's cells. That team should not be 7 without a win.
Correct. And by the way, I've admitted to Gibbs White because he needs punishment after his mistake against Newcastle. So
I was going to say, yeah, where is Morgan Gibbs White?
I've admitted him to the bench. But anyway.
Do you wish you had sold him to us now?
No, not to you. I wanted him to go Man City. It is quite funny, though, that I do have Spurs fans saying, oh, bet you wish what happened to the we always win keep Gibbs White. I'll be like, find me a clip where I've said anywhere in the summer I don't want him sold because I know his level. I know his level. I just kind of actually now that I look at it, yeah, he would have been a bit of an undercover virus into your team. But anyway, he's still here. So it is what it is. But yeah, no, I look, Forest's problem has always been dominating a midfield. Now, I got catfished against Real Betis, where we played exquisite football for 45 minutes. And the instigator of that was Douglas Luiz, in my opinion, and Anderson and Sangare. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the midfield three. It's the only time I've seen it for 45 minutes. Now, if you look at how Anderson's played against England, he's coming up against teams that have been really deep in their own half, and he's dictated the play from the 6. I can't see him doing that against Chelsea. So what I'd like to see here is almost a rotating 3, because Sangare can play the 6. Anderson can play the 6. Luiz can play the 6. I just want to see a bit of chemistry evolving between those 3. Now, Sangare, a lot of Forest fans don't like him. They think he's too slow, waste of money and all this. Why did we spend 30? But they seem to think 30 million is a lot in Premier League expenditure, which is crazy, but that's the mindset of some of the fans. But he could be Dominguez. I like Dominguez as well. What he can't be is Ryan Yates. So I don't want Ryan Yates anywhere near that team. So that's the team I'll go with. And then you've got
players that are not playing then there that I can see. So straight away in the midfield, I can think of Yates, Dominguez, and Morgan Gibbs White. And then in the forward line, you've got what? Hudson-Odoi, Undoy, Chris Woods, Calamawundo. I mean, you've got options.
We haven't said McAtee. Don't forget McAtee as well.
McAtee as well. Yeah, you've got options, right? Is is there any part of this that if we're saying this is the best front three, right, Wolfie? And I know this is obviously just your opinion. And
yeah, no, this is just for Saturday.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can it be said that, for some of your success last season was down to the fact that front three last year just gelled? Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, Chris Wood. It just worked, and it worked to a Nuno system. Is it that he's not found what works in his system?
I just think it's a glowing response on how good of a manager Nuno is. And I do think that you guys were too harsh on him too early, if I'm being honest with you, when you had Nuno.
Maybe.
So I just think Nuno's principles are very good, but it took nearly a year to embed in. Do you know what I mean? Like, remember when he came at Forest was still shit. Like, it wasn't until he got his preseason that we looked good. But he has a shelf life. He can't, once he's been found out, he's found out. It's really easy to play against his system. That's why I think he'll struggle this season with West Ham. But this is why when everyone's like, oh, you're getting down, oh, ANGE's going to win his second season trophy in the championship. I'm like, all right, cool. Look at my squad and then let me know. So, I'm not worried at all. Yeah, I'm not worried about that shit at all. My worry is how long do you wait before you take proper action? And my worry is you don't give Sean Dyche that squad. You give that squad to a Marco Silva, he fucking turns that round overnight. Do you know what I mean? Do you know who I want, Sav? Do you know who I really want? Do you know who I really want? Spice Girls style. Fabregas.
Oh, from Como.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think Silva. Listen, Fabregas is getting a lot of rave reviews, by the way, about
he is. They're playing
Como.
Silva's number one for me, but I would take Fabregas.
Silva for me. Do you know what I like about Silva? I like. Listen, if someone had said to me 6-7 years ago, Silva, I would have said absolutely not. But what I like about him is he got written off, he got sacked, but he came back and has built himself something. He's actually got better as he's got older.
And he's won trophies.
Huh?
And he's won trophies.
He's won trophies, but he sets up his team really well. And again, sometimes it's not always about, is it free-flowing, all-out attacking football? Fulham are a decent football team. With the resources they've got, he's built a very good little team there. I think if he had that squad that you've got, I think you'd see I desperately think that he wouldn't have gone 7 games without
he wouldn't at all. And what I like about him, and I say this with all due respect to the Fulham players, a lot of those are reject players. Let's be honest. The Iwobis of this world, the Smith Rowes of this world, the Traores of this world, those are players that just didn't make it at top 6 teams. Leno as well. Leno's been fantastic for them. Okay, maybe not so much this season, but he gets these almost raggy dolls. Remember that show as well? And he chucks them, he chucks them together and he gets to tune out of them. And he's adaptive. If he's coming up against Arsenal, he'll know how to be, or at least be competitive against them. If he's coming up against a Forest, he'll know how to play against them. He's very, very intelligent in terms of football IQ for a manager. I got a lot of time for. I agree with you when you look back. Remember when he was at Watford and then Everton? He then had to rebuild it. This guy walked the championship, by the way. Like when we came up with them, they were already promoted 100 months before anyone else was. And then he came in, and in his first game, I remember their first game in the Premier League against Liverpool, they drew 2-2. And they should have won. He was high pressing them. He was choking them for time and what have you. He's doing fantastic. Fulham in that first season could and should have got Europe, but their squad wasn't deep enough.
And the beauty of Marco Silva as well. First of all, as I said, I really like the fact that he was knocked down and then came back. I like that. I think it shows character that you went away, learned, adapted, and built. But his contract's up in the summer. So
exactly.
If a club wants to go in and get Marco Silva right now, I'm guessing there's 2 options for Silva. It's either put up and get a new contract on the board or move. So it wouldn't cost you millions.
He's not happy there. This is
well, there's a shelf life. How long can you be at Fulham? What's the realistically, if you're
What's
Silva,
the ceiling? Yeah.
What's the ceiling? How do you turn around and go, well, if I stay for another 3 years, this is what, you know?
And do you know what I get? I get people say, why would he join Forest over Fulham? I'm like, I can give you 5.
Stars.
Huh?
You've got 2 stars.
Well, that's one reason. I didn't even add that reason. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even have to add that reason. We've got a better squad than Fulham. We've got more money than Fulham. He will be given more money than Fulham. We've got European football as well. And he's got an owner that he will fully get back to, and one he's worked before and won silverware with. So there's a lot of, oh, that's a beautiful shirt there, Steve. There's a lot of reasons why he would join Forest over Fulham. The reason he won't join Forest over Fulham is because of the £8 million compensation to get him out when he's only got, 7 months left on his contract. That's what I think, that's the blocking point right now. And if that's the blocking point, that fucking pisses me off, because you gone and spent over, like, I like Hutchinson, but Hutchinson, not on this planet, is worth £37 million to do in the summer. So you've overpaid to get Hutchinson in. Forest have overpaid for loads of players, as have every other club. So you're going to scrimp over 8 million to go and get a manager who's going to absolutely sort this team and this club out. And on top of that, ANGE's lost the fans, bro. You heard them at the home match. That's not a home match. I've never seen it that toxic, right? If you bring Silva in, everyone would be happy with Silva. There's not one Forest fan that I've spoken to, I'm sure there is somewhere, that wouldn't take a Silva, because everyone knows what Silva can do. And yeah, he won't go Saudi, Angus. He rejected Saudi a year or 2 ago. They were offering him like 20, 40 million, whatever it was. And he decided to stay at Fulham. He's being offered a Premier League club with European football. If we got him in tomorrow, I think we're favourites for the Europa League. How about that? I think we are anyway. But
look, let's be honest. Marco Silva will get a job in the Premier League. Let's be brutally honest. He's got enough tenure now. He's got enough time. He's done a good enough job that Silva can get a good job in the Premier League, because Premier League managers will get sacked regularly. Between now and the end of the season, another 7 or 8 will probably go. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's just the way it is. The question I've got here is, like you said, that ANGE's lost the Forest fans, and I'm sure that's not all of them, but there is visible noise, like you're hearing it on the TV. And how does he get them back? Is the answer as simple as wins? Like if he was to beat Chelsea, Porto and Bournemouth, does he suddenly get those Forest fans back on page?
Let me use your mate Ant, because he's not my mate anymore. He's kind of still is. I don't know what you've done to him, man. You fucking corrupted us.
Ant just knows football more than you.
No, Ant's been corrupted by you. So on our live stream yesterday, I said, he was like, this is 100% ANGE's fault, 0% on the players.
Right.
And I was like, well, hold on. I said, if Forest beat Chelsea on Saturday, let's live in this hypothetical world that I'm conjuring up, would you give any credit to ANGE? Like, no. I was like, okay. I was like, 0. It'd all be the players. I was like, but if Forest lose on Saturday, will you blame the players? No, it's 100% ANGE.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's like that black and white. I was like, okay, if ANGE goes on a run of 5 games winning, will you credit? No, that will be the players. So that's, I mean, Ant is the extreme. We do love Ant, but that's the mindset of a lot of the fans. Is like they cannot.
What he messaged me when he got appointed, he messaged me immediately, and it was this big long rant. And I just meant, I think my response was just sort of like laughing faces, like tears of joy.
Honestly, man, I can see, like, I could see you doing some cosplay or whatever that stuff is called. You dressed up as Obi-Wan and Ant there as Anakin, and you're like, you must hate, and you must hate.
Look, let's look at this honestly, right? First of all, I think 7 games is far too soon to sack any manager. As funny as it would be, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's too soon. However, what you do is, by not winning in your first 7, you put yourself in the firing line.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It's not like if he had 2 wins, 2 draws and 3 defeats, you could turn around and go, okay, it's not been great, but when you've got 7 games without a win, You are literally now putting yourself in the shop window that every single game you don't win now, fans are going to get, I'm frustrated. Now I'm a bit more. Now I'm livid. Get out my club. And football fans don't have other...
And he came in with the get out of my club already as the mindset. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of the fans were, get out my club. You need to win to bring me to I'm angry. And then you need to do that. Whereas he went that way with it. Yeah, he already started up there with a lot of fans. Now, to answer your question, how does he get the fans on side? He's going to have to go 3 or 4 W's in a row. And one of those is going to have to be Bournemouth, because Bournemouth are our bogey team. Any Forest fans in there? I think it's 2015 since we last beat them. So they are fully our bogey team. He can ask for a worse fixture than Bournemouth away. I would rather Forest go away to the Etihad than go and play Bournemouth away if I'm looking for 3 points, right? If I desperately need 3 points. That just doesn't, 2015, cheers. So that doesn't happen. So he would need to, for me, he's got to draw or win against Chelsea. He's then got to beat Bournemouth. He has to beat Man U, and he has to beat Leeds. And I'm still telling you, there will be people who would be like, they would come down from get out my club to you're on a rolling 1-game contract. Like that's the level that some fans are at with him. For me, I'm just at this case now where if he loses to Chelsea, he has to go. And I think he will go. Because if Chelsea go a goal up, that place is going toxic tomorrow. Toxic.
If he goes after tomorrow, would you be annoyed that it didn't happen when you actually had 2-week break to remedy?
There's no point. And this is one point that Ant always makes that I agree with him on. I would say, like, once you get to the stage of talking about a manager has 1 game to save his job, what the fuck is the point anymore? It's like saying, I don't know why I always use partnerships, but I'll do it. It's like saying, oh, my missus has cheated on me 3 times. If she cheats on me 1 more time, that's it. Oh, yeah. She's been cheating, man. It's obvious she don't like me, right? It's like cut the cord. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you've got to the stage of that conversation, there's no point anymore. By the way, as far as I know, she hasn't cheated on me, right? But anyway, as far as I know, but I'm quite oblivious.
I'll ask my wife when I finish how many times you've cheated on me. You've got 4 chances. You've got 4
chances, yeah. But by the 3rd one, I'll seriously consider it.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, and when you look at the timing, when Forest are playing Sunday, Thursday, obviously apart from this weekend, you're not going to have a chance. You're going to create the same problem you created with ANGE, where you brought him in too late in the last international break. You then give him no time to get to know the players or train the players, and you're playing Sunday, Thursday. So why would you have not given the new manager the 2 weeks at the very least to start to, know where his car parking spot is and stuff before you're then going to pull the trigger and say to some dude on Sunday, you're coming in, by the way, you got a game on Thursday, and then by the way, you got another game on Sunday. So it would be absolute stupidity.
You have fast become the club that lots of people look out for on a Saturday or a Sunday, because it's listen, before I do some super chats, Wolfie, is there anything you would like to say? Like for the last 2 years where you have absolutely abused and bantered me on panel shows about when I've said, you don't know how this feels. It is a roller coaster. It's up and down. Is there anything you'd like to say after only experiencing it for 2 months?
No, bro. You don't get to play that card.
There's nothing.
Bro, you don't get to play that card. You can play that card when you've seen David Platt as your manager, when you've seen McLaren as your manager, right? This is a normal scenario for Forest, bro. Like, go back and look through our managers, and then you'll see the kind of shit we've had to deal with, right? This is just normal. Like, under Nuno, that was the abnormality, right? That was just normality.
As a great man once said, you've answered a question, but it wasn't the answer to my question, right? Okay. Is there anything you'd like to say? Like, Savva, I now understand your frustration for the last 2 years. Or maybe you had a point, Savva. Or, yes, Savva, I'll never take the piss out of you again, Savva.
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Bro, you want me? I wouldn't come here and disrespect your most successful manager in your lifetime to your face, bro. I couldn't do that to you. We're mates. We're mates. I couldn't do that to you.
That's like calling Brennan Johnson our most successful striker in my lifetime, isn't it?
Well, do you know what? I did see this question, and I'd be intrigued to know your answer. Who's done more for Spurs, Kane or Brennan Johnson?
Oh, shut up. Oh, Wolfie, we're not doing this. You've only got 1 minute until you've got to go. We are not doing this unless you've got 10 more minutes. We are not doing this. You are a shameless human being right now.
I think it's a fair question. I haven't said who it is. I've just asked the question. Asked the question.
Harry Kane versus Brennan Johnson. Who's done more for Tottenham Hotspur? You don't even believe that.
I haven't given my answer. I've just asked the question.
Now I know why your wife's cheated on you 4 times, like you said. Now I know why. Three times. Sorry, she's got one more life. Listen, let's do some super chats. But I am clipping that bit up. Harry Kane versus Brennan Johnson. That's going to be a great thumbnail.
I didn't say who's the better player. I said who's done more for Spurs.
I know what you said. I know what you said, and it's never going to be Brennan. It's never going to be Brennan Johnson. I still dispute whether he actually touched the football in that final. I don't think he scored the goal. But let's have a look at the super chats before we wrap up. I might stay on for a bit, but Wolfie will have to leave in a minute. Big up to Smokey Boy with the super chat. He said, "You got to love him, ain't you?" I'd like to think you're talking about me, but I think you're talking about Wolfie, and we do love him.
ANGE.
Wolfie is one of those characters where people in chat rooms get so frustrated by him, but they love him. They love watching you. And it must be that beautiful face. Big up to you, Smokey Boy. You've been very generous lately. Thank you very much. Stanley, shut up. Sorry if anyone can hear Stanley barking. Oh, my gosh.
What a beautiful name, by the way. I assume you did it after the great Stanley Collymore. So that would make sense.
I definitely did not name him after the great Stanley Collymore. My wife named him, and I don't think she gives a crap
Your
about
a Forest fan?
Collymore. My missus is not a Forest
fan. She might be a Villa fan.
No, her family's Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Her family's Chelsea. So whenever I'm with her dad and brothers, it's like Chelsea. It's like, oh my God, like, and right now they're like, oh, it's not very good. I'm like, you have no idea what it's like supporting a club when it's not good. Anyway, big up to Sanctuary 7, who's been a member for 25 months. Thank you very much, my man. He says, big up Savva Wolfie, hoping Forest win this week to give Ange more time to lose more. I love that. I love that, Math. Great content from you both. Love it. Thank you very much, Sanctuary. Really appreciate you. Daniel Marlowe said, big up from Thailand. Big up to you, my man. He said, admit it, Wolfie, you're dying inside with Ange at the helm. Such a massive swap of style. Will he be given the time? Well, Wolfie's giving him until 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. So,
shit, it's tomorrow. Fuck, man.
This time tomorrow, you'll be 1-0 down from an Enzo Fernandez header. There you go. You heard it here first. Big up, Daniel. Thank you very much. Big up to We Always Lose, mate. Oh, look at that. Look at that picture of you, Wolfie. That's nice, isn't it?
Oh, someone's found that. Okay, yeah.
Please keep that donkey until we play you. We will dog walk you all game and help send you back to the championship. Hold that. The rivalry's real, man. The rivalry's real.
I love that. He's paid $8. He's gone through God knows what stream that was just to find it. And we'll never think about him again once the super chat leaves the screen. But thank you for the $8, bro.
Absolutely brilliant. Is this, by the way, I know you've changed your name. Is this fucking
Andy? Is this Andy?
I've no idea who it is. No idea.
It could be Forest fan Andy because he's fully ANGE.
No idea. But big up to you and big up to Destiny 5 who said, but we always win, they said. Destiny, yeah. Wolfie told me we always win. We always win.
I ain't gonna lie, Destiny. I've always won. And just fucking up. Go look at my views. I'm still winning.
Destiny, I've not heard him say it for 2 months, but maybe 2:30 tomorrow he'll be back to being ANGE. Wolfie, I know you've got to go. I'll tell you what, I will wrap up the show. Guys, girls, we're back. I'll probably do something tomorrow afternoon. And then obviously we've got the game on Sunday against Aston Villa. at White Hart Lane. I can't call it the Spurs or the Tottenham Community.
Oh, you want me to
Stadium.
give you a quick prediction for that?
Yeah, go for it.
Villa win 2-1.
Yeah, how did I know you were going to go for an Aston Villa
Villa
win?
in good form. No one should have written them off that early. Just like they
I
should
agree.
be doing at Forest.
I completely agree with you. And just to remind everyone that the Aston Villa fan inside the house is Sean. Sean, if you're watching, there you go. Villa Talk Show. Big up to Sean. Guys and girls, let me send you over somewhere really, really quickly. Let me send you over to who's live. Who can we find that's live in the world of football right now?
Never a foul alive.
I'm gonna send you over to Jim and Kate as a Spurs channel. I'm gonna send you over to the perfect match, Jim and Kate. When you get there, please smash the like button. Please subscribe and say Savva and Wolfie raid. Savva and Wolfie raid. Much love, Wolfie. Thank you very much. I love it as always. And maybe on next week's show we'll be talking about your new manager, Sean Allardyce,
or 2 wins in a row.
Or 2 wins in a row. Who knows? We'll see. Take care, everyone. Much love. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the subscribers. And please, Savva and Wolfie raid when you get over to the perfect match. Take care. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.